Hi. Once you have imported all your bank statements into the relevant cash books, and if there are any transactions in the cash books that you need to split between two or more different accounts, I'm now going to show you how you will do that. You will highlight all the transactions in the cash book, every single transaction from top to bottom. Right-click in the transactions that you've highlighted, left-click on Copy, and then you will left-click on the splitting worksheet within the cash book file. And you will left-click in the very top row in the date column and right-click and left-click on Paste. You've now copied the date, the details of the supplier or depositor. You will need to go back to your cash book, and then you will need to highlight every single total amount that's been imported from top to bottom. Right-click on the highlighted transactions, left-click on Copy, left-click on the splitting worksheet, and then make sure that you put it in line with the very first transaction. Make sure you're selecting the right cell, left-click on it, right-click in it, and left-click on Paste. And now you've basically duplicated the cash book in the splitting worksheet. To split a transaction so that you can allocate it to more than one account, you will identify the transaction that you would want to split between the different accounts, and then depending on how many accounts you want to split that transaction to, you will then insert the number of rows just below that transaction. You can then copy that transaction over into those rows, and then you can split that amount between the different amounts that you want to allocate to different accounts. Just make very sure that once you've split the amounts, that the total of those three amounts then add up to the original amount of the total of that transaction. And to make sure that you're doing that correctly, I would suggest that you first type in the original amount of that transaction next to it in column H, and then you can proceed with your splitting. So let's say you want to take 1,000 of that. Remember, this total amount includes that. You want to take 1,000 to one account. You want to take 500 to another account. And you want to take the balance to a third account. Make sure that if you're splitting a transaction that was originally a negative, that you enter the splits as a negative in the total column. And if the amount that you want to split is a positive, that you enter the splitting amounts as a positive in the total account. So once you've split the transaction now between the different accounts that you want to allocate to, you can then highlight those three transactions and make sure that those three transactions then total the original total of the transaction. And now you can see where I'm circling, it's 1,000 short. Go and check to see where you've made the mistake, and that amount was meant to be 1,500. So be very sure that when you split the amounts, that it agrees to the original amount of the transaction. Once you have done all the splitting of the transactions that you require, you will then copy back all the transactions again back to the cash book. Right-click, left-click on Copy, back to the cash book. Make very sure that you go and paste it back into the correct cash book and not a different one. Paste, back to splitting, and pick up the totals. And make very sure that you align those totals with the very top transaction. And you'll see then that it will bring that transaction that was originally 2,786.30 for you to now allocate it to three different accounts. Please don't forget to go back to the splitting worksheet once you have split a particular cash book and delete that information from the splitting worksheet, because if you want to, split another cash book and you copy it over, there might be some transactions left over from the previous cash book that you're going to accidentally copy back to the new splitting cash book. So please delete the information once you have completed your splitting. In the next tutorial, we'll cover the allocation of the account and the VAT category. I'll speak to you then.